Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to discuss two highly similar cars, the original BMW M3 and my Nissan Skyline GTR. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, these cars aren't very similar. After all, this one is German, this one is Japanese. This one is naturally aspirated, this one is turbocharged. This one has 215 horsepower, this one has 276. This one is rear-wheel drive, and this one is all-wheel drive. But these cars have more in common than you might think. To explain why, I have to take you back to the 1980s, when every car was boring. And I mean every car was boring. There was no BMW M, there was no AMG Mercedes, there was no WRX or Evo or Miata or Audi S. Think of it this way. In 1984, the most powerful Camaro you could buy had 190 horsepower. And then BMW and Nissan independently had a bright idea. To take one of their standard models, flare the fenders, add a wing, put a little more power under the hood, and I'm in the E30 BMW M3, which is the godfather of all current M performance cars. The M3, the M4, the M6, the M Roadster, the X5 M, M Sport, M Design watches, M Performance elbow pads, M Sport toothpaste. And boy, is it sublime. I have always said that this is one of the best, most exciting, most enjoyable cars to drive, and now I can confidently say, you were right, Doug. It's just so great. The shifter feels so good, the steering is so perfect. It is impossible to explain in video how good this car is, and that's when you know you have a really good car. And to build it, BMW didn't really have to do all that much. The car has a normal interior, normal seats, normal controls, a normal steering wheel, a normal gauge cluster, and even normal doors, just combined with flared fenders and that big wing. Does that remind you of anything? This car also has normal seats, normal controls, a normal gauge cluster, and even normal doors, just combined with flared fenders and that big wing. And we already know how I feel about driving it. In other words, although these cars have some major differences, we have them to thank for creating a performance car kick that has lasted for 25 years. Without this car, there'd be no Mercedes E63 AMG, no Audi S4, no Volvo S60R. And without this one, there'd be no WRX, no Evo. So which one do I like more? Well, the BMW is more valuable. It's also better looking, and it feels tighter, likely a function of its smaller size and its nimbler handling. Meanwhile, the Skyline is cheaper to buy and probably a little cheaper to own, and it's a lot faster. But comparing these cars is like comparing your grandfathers. They're both getting up there in years, and they're both a little old-fashioned, and they both smell a little differently than you're used to, but you love them both equally. Can I drive the BMW again?